Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to this session on Bodhicharyavatar. As usual, let's please first start with the right motivation. So please, tune your motivation, expand your mind, open your heart, that whatever we study and contemplate and hopefully then also practice today, that all this will be of benefit for all sentient beings, so that they are freed from all kinds of suffering, like in the short term, but also in the long term. So please, in your own mind and hearts, please generate that kind of wish. Okay, thank you. Then, welcome, of course, and then let's start. So we are in the middle of the Bodhicharyavatar. Actually, I'm not sure if we really reached 50% already, because the later chapters are quite long and detailed. But like feeling-wise, chapter 5 feels like the middle. And within that, we have talked about mindfulness, vigilance, awareness, conscientiousness, and those kind of mental qualities that are very crucial to train our mind. If we don't have these, then mind training is not really possible, because our mind will be very wild or distracted, or we will not know what is happening in our mind. So therefore we need those qualities first to really as the context or as the right framework when we then travel on the Bodhisattva journey. And so this is mainly the topic of chapter 4 and 5 of this Mahayana text by Shantideva here, where we want to create these right mental aspects or qualities so that we can really focus on benefiting others, that we can really focus on training our mind, that we can really focus, first of all, not to harm anyone. And so there are many, many advices and stanzas on how important it is to have these qualities and how crucial it is, because they're all working on our mind, which is the main thing to work on. And we are here now starting today with verse 73, where this is in the context where Shantideva is giving very straightforward advices that I think don't even need much explanation, but it's still good maybe to discuss on them. Where he's really telling how we should behave in body, speech, and mind. So that is sort of the context where we are. Maybe just we start, and then of course, as usual, after each stanza we can discuss about those topics. I think today I will go back to the idea of sharing sometimes the stanzas here on the screen. That should work. So I think now you should be able to see that. Verse 73 is where we are. Maybe I just read 72 already, even though we had discussed that. I should desist from inconsiderately and noisily moving around chairs and so forth, as well as from violently opening doors. I should always delight in humility. So that is sort of the setting, and now Shantideva is giving some examples. The stork, the cat, and the thief, by moving silently and carefully, accomplish what they desire to do. A bodhisattva too should always behave in this way. So our idols or examples here are like first these animals, like cats and I don't know, storks or herons, I think they're also called. And then also these thieves or burglars, because when they want to achieve their goal, for example, food, maybe in the case of the animals, and money or whatever, gold in case of the thieves, they do it very like quietly, like carefully. They want to be not noticed. They want to be unobserved, and they do it very like inconspicuously. So, for example, if this water bird, the stork, for example, wants to get a fish, it is watching carefully and moving slowly and very gently through the water, not to steer up the water and by that warn the fishes, or also like cats. I'm sure you have seen, how they, like, if you look at them and they want to attack you, then they're not moving. But then if you look away and then again, then they're already a step closer, and again not moving when they see that we see them. So they're very like silently and gently they are approaching their victim. So that is here the example how bodhisattvas should also behave. Which means, of course, not attacking other beings or robbing them, but having that kind of very gentle and silent behavior that is not really disturbing others, but that is also a little bit gracefully, but here the main thing is, don't disturb anyone, don't disturb others. Songtse Khyentse Rinpoche used to quote Milarepa that he said that, we should not disturb others and not cheat ourselves. So here this point is, not create any upheaval in the world or to add to the pollution that we have by noise, or by there's so many so much trouble in the world already, so much movement, so much distraction, and that we are not adding towards that, but that we become an example of quietness and gentleness, and also, if we don't want to be noticed or unobserved, like the cats and the robbers, that also, of course, means we don't want to be the center of attention all the time. So this would be the verse number 73. If you want to discuss about that, please just unmute yourself and let me know. Okay, if not, then let's go to the next verse. So this is 74, and there again practical advices where we learn, how to, especially now, interact with others, and that our interaction is getting less negative. I think nowadays that the term is this detox, like relationship detox, where we try not to bring in poison or negativity in relationships or in our communications, where we try not to bring any heavy or harmful things in our relationships and our communication. So therefore here there are very simple and straightforward advices. Let me try to share the next verse, 74. Da-dum. I'm not a frequent screen share, so I always have to take care not to share all the private stuff here. So it says, with respect, I should gratefully accept unsought after words that are of benefit, and that wisely advise and admonish me. At all times I should be the pupil of everyone. So here the first thing is, how to relate to advice, that is given by others. And then even, if the advice comes like unasked, like sometimes people just tell you, like whatever, you should smile more, or you should not say this, or you should, I don't know, show your Zoom video properly, or I don't know. There are so many things that people might come up with. And then, so it's not really like something that is delivered because you requested it, but still that advice is like generously given. And then Shantideva's suggestion here is that, we try to be humble and full of gratitude, and that our mental attitude should be that we put ourselves in the shoes of a disciple of that person, like, without asking me, you corrected me. That's so generous of you, that you gave that advice. I mean, but that really, that we try to mean it a little bit like that. Can you speak a bit? Okay. Yes. Yes, that will come. So that is the first part here of verse 74. That we first try to have that openness, and even though it's maybe harmful in the beginning, or it's, as I said, unasked for, but we try to, what is the word? Keep up, I think, to the openness and friendliness, and that we try to see some wisdom, or at least check if there's some wisdom in what was said to us, For example, if it's totally in accordance to the Dharma, then of course, then it's a good thing. So that should be checked first. Is it sort of in harmony with the Dharma? Is it really helpful to discover the truth? Is it really pointing out some hidden faults? That is what Atisha is. How Atisha is defining? Like who's a spiritual teacher? Who's pointing out hidden faults. So we should check if there's some truth and value in it. And if it's like that, yes, then we should really respectfully accept that advice and be not so full of pride, and but like internally, we really have some modesty and acceptance, that of course we can learn from others, and therefore in that context we should try even to see everybody as our teachers. And actually, I asked once Panop Rinpoche about that. This was in a car drive, and he said, because I said, but then there are so many bad teachers, but for him it is still fine, because even if somebody is behaving badly, then that person is teaching us the negative example, how not to act. So it's not about that we should take everybody as a teacher and therefore do whatever they like and whatever negative they do or advise us. Of course not. That's why when we get that advice here, first we check, is there some truth in it? Is there some value? Is it in accordance to the Dharma? Is it really helpful? And then we should be open and accept it and think about it. And I think the classic example is like Tilopa, right? Who was maybe not so attractive in his outer behavior, like Khyentse Rinpoche is usually saying if Tilopa would walk into the shrine room, we would kick him out, immediately, because he looks like very wild and unhygienic and dirty and smells of these fish corpses, so likewise, I think maybe metaphorically we can see it like that, So normally we would even expel Tilopa, from our classroom. Maybe on Zoom it's better, but in real life. So likewise, the advice of others sometimes look like Tilopa, maybe, they look like smelly and dirty, but actually maybe they're full of wisdom, So therefore, don't judge the advice or the person who's giving the advice, too quickly, but check really if behind the first smell or strange look there is some wisdom. And I think Kanto Rinpoche also said that in another context, that it's not so much the question if other people have an advice for us or could share something, but it's really more the question if we are able to receive the advice. So it really depends on our receptivity or openness, and then I think we can learn from everyone. Of course, we cannot learn everything from everyone because some people have maybe no knowledge about something, but still, generally everybody has something to share. Okay, Marina is writing, can you speak a bit about how to discern who to listen to? Yes, since I just said it, but basically now I have to continue with that. So everyone we should listen to if somebody is talking to us. But then you really use your discriminating mind, and maybe even start a discussion with that person, and see if that is what the person means, so that she or he can elaborate a little bit, and then you can see why she or he is saying that. And so that I think is generally good. But then, of course, it can still be hurtful, what this person is saying. And then I like Ringo Tulku's advice. And actually, Tsongtse Khyentse Rinpoche and our Sangha is also dealing with us like that. Anyway, Ringo Tulku's advice is, like, if one person is saying something to you, like, I don't know, your ears smell strangely. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. And then first you feel maybe hurt, and you and so Ringo Tulku's advice is, if something is difficult to accept some advice, then maybe check, like, if more people tell that same advice to you, and if there are like 3 people saying the same thing to you. So if like 3 people complain about my ears, then maybe there is some value in what they say. Of course, it could still be a how's it called? Could still be like a democracy of idiots. It still could be many people who have a wrong perception, but usually like 3 is a good number. Like, I think in day-to-day life, if 3 people say the same thing to you, then try to take it a little bit serious and see if it's valuable or not. And I'm saying, like, with Tsongtse Khyentse Rinpoche, I have the feeling he's dealing with us also like that. Sometimes people complain about other people in the Sangha to him, and then usually he doesn't do anything. But yes, if it accumulates, and different people and say the same thing about you, then he's giving you a call, which is, of course, always a blessing, but sometimes also, sometimes it takes time to digest things. So the point is here, generally try to be open. Don't think it is actually so negatively meant, what the other person is saying. Like, for example, parents do criticize sometimes the kids, or yesterday I spoke about like, if you are critique, for somebody who's a writer, then of course you sometimes have to say negative things, critique things, and but like parents, for example, they say something critical because they love you, actually, because they really want to support you. They want that you do things that really bring you closer to your aims. So therefore, therefore it's good to not think only because the advice sounds negative that it is actually negative. Maybe, and especially among friends and family, I guess maybe they are coming from a good place. And then here, it's not written in the root verse, but But I think Tsongtse Khyentse Rinpoche, in his commentary to that verse, he said, and then, of course, we can also try to give an advice to others, but there we should, of course, be very skillful, and I'm adding wise and compassionate, and usually only give it if you have been invited to give an advice. Okay. Effie is saying, what can you do if multiple people say similar things to you that you should rectify, but you generally cannot see what they are saying? Sometimes we live in self-denial. Yeah, actually, that's good. I wanted to say, still, even though at least after 3 people, we should have a tiny bit of openness to their opinion. Still, you, Effie, you know yourself the best, you know. Even if we all now have a group session and criticize you, you know, and we might say the same thing, then please know that we don't know you so well, but you know yourself much better. So therefore, that should, of course, be taken into account. You know, that you. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I can't read your mind. So therefore, whatever I'm saying is just a assumption. You know, it's a guess job. You know. So I see you behave in a certain way, so that are the symptoms, you know, so therefore I infer, you know, what is maybe in your mind, you know, what is happening in your mind, you know, what is your motivation, what is your view behind, and that could be so wrong because I am so wrong, you know, like because I was told I should not say that I'm stupid, you know, but I think as a samsaric being, we are confused. That is, and maybe another word, but we are confused in not seeing the truth, and we are not able to read other people's mind. So therefore, when, for example, I would criticize you, and others would do that too, then of course, please assume that we only assume. It's and therefore you should be the biggest witness, you know, because you know your motivation. I think that is one of the Lojong slogans also. So that out of the 2 witnesses, choose the one, and that is your perception. But then, as you said, yes, sometimes we live in self-denial. That is really a problem. And then it's really getting tricky. Because, yeah, we don't want to be too open, of course, to bad advice, but also we don't want to be too closed to advice because they could be good. So self-denial, is difficult. But if you maybe have also noticed, let's say again 3 times that you are in self-denial, and later you found out that you have been in self-denial, then maybe you can accept that as a weakness of yours, and as a result of that, you try to be open to the next advice, you know, a little bit more. And and I think the last thing I would like to say to that question is maybe it also depends very much on who these people are, you know. In my example, if now everybody in this Zoom call would talk to you, maybe nobody really knows you well, and therefore, of course, that advice might not be very educated or informed. But then if, I don't know, your husband or wife, I don't know, is saying you something, then of course you can, maybe that person is then more emotional. That could be a side effect, but also that person might know you better, you know, so therefore maybe you have more openness to that. And then, of course, if your guru is saying something to you, then maybe don't wait that 3 gurus say the same thing to you, but then maybe, take the first advice already, because you think, okay, he or she knows, you know. That is what karma pakyano means, right? We remember that the teacher knows. Okay, Christine says, if you are with people who are beginning criticizing negatively other people, should we remain silent according to Shantideva? I'm just thinking if that is coming. No, I think not so much. No, No, we should not be silent. Yeah, but that again is tricky because, but if you're saying negatively criticizing, I don't know. Maybe it's good to then get involved, in it, and we can ask also how the person is feeling that is criticized, or we could ask why these criticizers criticize, or what is their motivation. Because maybe there is something going on that is only looking negatively, but maybe is really helping. But if it's obviously negative, of course, it's our responsibility, to stop negativity or harm and hurt and pain. And then I think it would be good to interfere, and if you think it's not possible to really go into a dialogue with all the people involved, we can still just try to distract, with whatever, some jokes, or I don't know, or you spill your wine and whatever, something that maybe opens up a little bit a new direction. Yeah, exactly. Effie is saying that, I think, distraction, right? Change the subject to talk about them. Talk about them, yes. Yeah. But it's really, I mean, I know you didn't mean it, but it's also interesting to talk about the criticizer, why are you criticizing? What? But normally that is maybe too too much confronting. Yeah, but another subject, a little bit lighter subject about, maybe something positive, or if not positive, maybe about them. So yes, why not? Yeah. Or you sing a song. Okay. Now I think, this continues actually a little bit in verse 75. Let me find here. 75. I should say, well said to all those who speak Dharma well. And if I see someone doing good, I should praise him, and be well pleased. Yeah, I should say, well said to all those who speak. Yeah, the Dharma is really like an insertion only. But it makes sense because earlier we were already asked to check if what the other person says is according to the Dharma or not. Dharma doesn't mean, it's like that we find it in whatever book, but it means if it's something that is not confused or is leading out of confusion, leading out of delusions, leading out of negative emotions, bringing us closer to the truth and stuff like that. So, if somebody is speaking the truth or showing like indirectly what the truth is, yes, then we should really like praise it or encourage him or her to continue like that, or even rejoice in what he or she said. Still, even if it's an uninvited advice from somebody, it's all like we try to put ourselves then in the position of the learner, the disciple. And so, as a disciple, of course, we request teachings and we ask for more. If there's really some glimpses of wisdom in it, And then, the second part, if somebody is doing good, whatever, like doing something positive, like, I don't know, what is this, letting go of Facebook for one day, or donating blood, or being patient, sharing whatever, then also we then try to rejoice in it, and be happy about it, and be free of jealousy or competition, because we think we should be doing these good things, or we should also not be cynical, I guess. And all that is normally boiled down in one German word, which is but, So if somebody is doing something good, and then we talk to our friends, he was rescuing the cat or the dogs, but, but isn't he spoiling them, whatever, So this we should maybe not do. Instead, rejoice, if somebody is doing positive things, even if they're very small and they look insignificant, or and this rejoicing, this I think we spoke about in the, I forgot, second or third chapter when we talked about the 7 branches. I think it's third chapter. Rejoicing is really like so good. Like if you want to create merit, that is the lazy way to do, with your full heart, wholeheartedly, you rejoice in somebody's good actions. It's like in a Zoom session, you don't have to travel somewhere, you don't have to spend money, but you just sit on your sofa and rejoice while others do the work. Of course, it's not inspiration to be lazy. But it really changes our mind, if we learn to get rid of this envy and jealousy and competitiveness and really rejoice if somebody is doing something positive. And positive is always meant in the context of altruism and less ego-centered. Now comes something I like, being praised. That is normally not so easy, at least for me. So this is 76. It's so annoying. The screen share thing is always going back to something else, to my desktop always. It wants to share that, but you don't want to see that. Or is there anything to discuss? Yeah, you can just write in the chat the point of discussion, or you just say, or you just unmute yourself, or whatever you like. So here, 76. Yeah, how to act when qualities are praised, or even if something is praised, not even qualities. Even though in the text it says qualities. I should discreetly talk about the good qualities of others and repeat those that others recount. If my own good qualities are spoken about, I should just know and be aware that I have them. Just know and be aware that I have them. Interesting. So the first half is more when others are praised. And the commentators, they say it's best actually not to express praise directly. Because that might be too flattery or too infatuating. Is that a word? Infatuating? Maybe. But maybe do it more secretly, or behind their back. Normally we speak bad things behind the back of somebody. But here the idea is really to praise somebody, like if I talk to somebody about a third person, and then talk to that second person in front of me, something nice about the third person. And then, it's also good and that comes back in the 6th chapter a lot. Then even if somebody is praising our enemies, then especially it's a good mind training to join in, So if this person in front of me is really like speaking so highly about my so-called enemy, then yes, join in and speak highly too of this person. And the second part is, what if we are being praised? Then I think the first advice is not to go bananas, basically, not to be like overly excited. Then that would be a waste of praise, I think. But it's still good maybe to check if we have these qualities. And how was it written here? If my own good qualities are spoken about, I should just know and be aware that I have them. So if we follow Shantideva's words and then Gyaltsab Je's commentary, I don't know if you know Gyaltsab Je. He was one of the main students of Tsongkhapa's. So he wrote a big commentary on Bodhicharyavatarā in the Gelug tradition. So he's suggesting, so he lived like, I don't know, 600 years ago. So he said, yes, then really drop your conceit, and try to see if you have these qualities. And if you have them, then, recognize that you have these qualities. That is sort of the first step. And then in the second step, just acknowledge, that the speaker recognizes qualities. So it doesn't matter. So we're not so excited then that this person recognized qualities in me, but we are just happy that this person is in general able to recognize qualities and differentiate qualities from faults. In Vajrayana, we could even go that far, that we rejoice that the other person has a pure perception. So that would be Gyaltsab Je's take on that. And Tsongtse Khenchen says, actually it doesn't matter so much if we have these qualities or not. We don't even have to check much. But we just do the same second step, which is, acknowledging and appreciating that this other person is recognizing qualities in general. So if somebody is saying to me, you have the quality of talking very fastly, so then, I'm just happy that this person is recognizing, I don't know if that's a quality actually, but I think you got my point. The point is to take your ego out of the picture, because otherwise you will have a klesha attack of pride. Oh, there's something. Marina, if you join in praising someone who you don't consider a friend, can that be somewhat hypocritical? Yes, of course. This I think also the correct label for all my bodhicitta practices. It's very hypocritical. It's very fake. But I was told, the more we just continue and doing it, then the more natural it will be. Here, I think I said, if we join in the praise of somebody praising our enemies, then it's a good mind training to join in. And of course, if we, how to say that, if we would be able to do it full-heartedly, then that is the indication that the third person is not an enemy. So I think by definition, if we think that third person is an enemy, definitely the only thing we can do is really to fake the praise here, and it's hypocritical. But to say the but, it's still a good training because it goes against our habit. We really, enemy is a strong word, I think, in all languages. So if we consider somebody, or how do you say, who don't consider as a friend, so if you perceive somebody like that much negatively, then it's a good training to at least with your words start to express some positive qualities about them. why is that? Because everybody has good qualities, and has also negative parts. And normally we generalize too much. I'm not reading your second thing yet, but I will. So the point is that everybody has qualities and weaknesses, let's say. I'm not talking about the Buddha nature, yeah? I'm just talking about how we as humans manifest. So we are like is it called bastard, actually? I think so, right? A mixture of good and bad. I think biologically it's called bastard. But I think that has a strange connotation. Anyway, so we have qualities and negative sides. And usually we put like the person we love, we only see the good sides and we put him or her on a throne. Not good. Or we only see the negative sides of our enemy and put him or her, I don't know where to put, in the hell, I guess, Or how do we say in German? We put him in the country where there is no pepper? Something like that. Wait, is there pepper or no pepper? I forgot. Yeah, no pepper. Go to the country where pepper grows. I don't know what that actually means. Anyway, so my point is here we very like partially see only the good qualities in our dear ones and only the bad qualities in our enemies. So that is it's a huge generalization, which is always wrong. That is also a generalization, but generalizations are always wrong. They're not. We are not perceiving the whole picture. We are not perceiving the whole person. So that's why, as a training, it's good to to see negative sides of your loved ones by implication, and also to see positive sides in your enemies. I think that would be an interesting mind training. Okay, Marina is writing, so knowing that the intent for praise is mind training, but also being honest with yourself that you don't really feel the praise at the... Yeah, of course. No, honesty to yourself, that is the key for everything. Without that, there's not much hope, yes. But still, as a training, we do it. Of course, I try every day to generate bodhicitta. I'm really not humble here. It's just the truth, Of course, I'm totally aware. It's not the full blown bodhicitta, It's a very look-alike thing, and I think that's good to be honest. But then on the other hand, still doing it, and so that it becomes more the real thing. Yes, and I think that's maybe how you put it is maybe also the antidote to being hypocritical, because hypocritical, it could mean, I'm not so sure about this English word. In German, it means that we really, we might even believe in the things we fake. That would be a pity. Then that would mean we are deceiving ourselves, and that we should not do. Honesty is really so important. Otherwise, we cannot. We cannot really practice Buddhism because we need to know where our problem is. And if we have Theravada problems, then by all means practice Theravada, for example. Don't think, because I heard many teachers say, we end up so often Vajrayana, but maybe Vajrayana is addressing problems that we don't have, at the moment. Maybe we have more basic problems, and therefore we need more basic methods. But for that, we need to be honest. We need to really see where we are, Okay, Sari is saying, I meant to say, there, I didn't read it first. But what if we do the praise to impress others? I meant to say, if we praise the enemy so that others think well of us. Yeah, that is... So now that's good. So first we do a strange trick to praise our enemies, and then our ego is doing another trick within the trick. And that is good. It's like a dream within a dream or something. Very difficult to recognize. I think then if we do that, then maybe we jump back 20 verse back in the text, where Shantideva is saying, then remain like a piece of log of wood, or something like that. Or in Khenpo Choga's commentary, it's more like remain like a massive tree. That was Shantideva's default advice, like a couple of verses earlier. So if you see that you there's some klesha that is hijacking you and making you do stuff, then remain like a log of wood, like remain stoic, relaxed, but not move. Don't move with body, speech, or mind. I think that would be then, if you have that trick within the trick, then maybe be stoic until the klesha is fading out, and then maybe you can join in the praise about your family. But you're totally right. I mean, ego is playing those tricks. Yes. In English, we have saying "bite the lip." I know the song "Bite the Lip and Dance." I don't know what does that mean actually. Bite the lip and dance. Yeah, bite the lip, not talk. Yes, exactly. But why dance then? I know you didn't say dance, but the song says so. Yeah. We can do that. Bite the lip, which would be a physical action, which we should not even do. We just do nothing. But of course, if nothing is too much, then biting the lip maybe is the middle way. Bite the lip. Yeah. And sometimes just counting your breath for a couple of times is also good. Breath is always nice because Ponop Rinpoche says we always have it with us, and it's a nice bridge between body and mind. And also we can, let's say in a emotionally heated mind state, we can of course a little bit breathe calmly, and that then has an influence on our mind. If we So I mean, like, it's a very simple breathing exercise, but just by breathing calmly and maybe emphasizing the exhalation, then that already calms our mind. And if we count like that, so we distract ourselves a little bit. I mean, distracting from everything else, meaning concentrating on the breath, then that gives the gap before we, and then our emotions can get weaker. Or a mantra works wonderful as well, it seems, if he's saying. Yes, there are so many methods. The only thing, choose a method that doesn't have any other side effect. So like smoking or alcohol might work, but might create other side effects. But I think Oma Hung is side effect free, yes. Or biting the lip, yes, until it's bleeding. Yes. Then we come to 77, where we talk about the benefits of making others happy. Oh, yeah, that's a little bit difficult here with the screen share because it's over 2 pages. Let's see. Advanced sharing options. I could share only files. Maybe that would work easily. Anyway, today we do it like that. So 77. All deeds of others are the source of joy. That would be rare even if it could be bought with money. Therefore, I should be happy in finding this joy in the good things that are done by others. So, small deeds of others. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Our aim as bodhisattvas is to try to be joyful and to bring joy in the world, or happiness. And the idea is to see that most beings are in samsara, in a confused mind state, and therefore it's quite rare that they have happiness, and therefore it is sort of priceless, that others have happiness. And since we want others to be happy, if that is the intent of us so-called bodhisattvas, then it's good to always rejoice in the happiness of others and not be jealous. And again, the rejoicing, what I meant earlier, is really, and it's also said in the previous chapter of Shantideva, we rejoice in everything, like very worldly happiness and also the highest spiritual happiness. So in the commentaries to, I forgot, I think it was third chapter when it's about the branch of rejoicing, then different levels of virtues are mentioned that we are rejoicing in. It could be like very small thing. Somebody is giving somebody else, I don't know, a broccoli or something, or it could be like really like a thing that people attain arhathood or become bodhisattvas or become Buddhas, and all these actions we rejoice in, and also all the results of these good actions. Yeah, and so that is what we do here when others are happy, or whenever there's happiness, that we rejoice in that, and of course we try to enhance it also. And then verse 78 is going into the same direction. Now I can go bigger again here. Through doing this, I shall suffer no losses in this life. Yeah, when we rejoice with others. And in future lives shall find great happiness. But the fault of disliking their good qualities will make me unhappy and miserable. And in future lives I shall find great suffering. Yeah, for whomever that is too dramatic, always delete life here, just in the future. So through doing this, I shall suffer no losses now, and in the future I find great happiness. But the fault of disliking their good qualities will make me unhappy and miserable, and tomorrow I will find great suffering, or in the future. Yeah, verse 78, yeah. So we try really to rejoice if something good happens, and we try to make others happy, and we try to be without jealousy or envy. And by rejoicing, we are not losing anything. That is the point here. We are not losing our faith, and also, as I said earlier, we can sit on our couch, so we don't lose travel time or travel money. But it's sort of free of charge, and free of effort. We can just rejoice. And that creates such a positive mind state for us, now and also in the future, in future lives. If we have that tendency, whenever we see something good, that we rejoice in it, that we are happy about it. Whereas if we do the opposite, if we are getting angry or jealous with somebody because he or she has good qualities or is doing something good, then we will we will have many reasons in life to feel angry and pain and unhappy and jealous. And Yeah, and I think it's obvious that it is us who is harmed by that. And the previous part, if we rejoice, it is mainly us actually who is benefited by that. It's really trying to create more positive habits and reduce negative habits. And yeah, that will also come a lot in the 6th chapter on patience. It's really doesn't matter so much, if we have a good reason to be angry or not, if the other people give us a good reason to be angry or not, doesn't matter. It's if we start to be angry or annoyed or hateful, it's this emotion is destroying us much more than them. Of course, we don't want to destroy them. Maybe in the heat of the moment we want, but that is secondary. The main point is it is destroying us. It's destroying our happiness and joy and relaxation and so on. So therefore here it is also said that we will suffer, if we constantly dislike and good things that others do or that others say or that others have. Whereas, if we are appreciative with whatever is positive, then that really creates such a different psychological state in our mind. Is that all clear? Didn't read any questions for a long time. Okay, then 79. Here. When talking, I should speak from my heart. That is exactly the opposite of what we talked about earlier. But it was only a mind training, when we wanted to join the praise with in regards to our enemies. When talking, I should speak from my heart and on what is relevant, making the meaning clear and the speech pleasing. I should not speak out of desire or hatred, but in gentle tones and in moderation. Yeah, so there's a list of things what to follow, when it's about speaking. And the commentators say it's from the Dashabhumika Sutra, the Sutra of the 10 Bhumis. Maybe those who have studied Madhyamika-vatara, they know that term, at least of that sutra, because Madhyamika-vatara is totally based on the Dashabhumika Sutra, because Madhyamika-vatara goes through 10 bhumis and explaining the meditative equipoises and the post-meditative hobbies, the 10 paramitas. Anyway, so that is an important sutra. Some say it's more Yogacharya, but here it gives very simple instructions on how to speak. And so from our heart, I think that is clear, relevant, meaningful, to the point, coherent, relevant, consistent, connected to whatever has been said before, inspiring, easily understandable, non-confusing, without hesitation, pleasantly, gently, without any negative emotions. We should not be attached to our own view, and we should not have anger or aversion towards the view of others. And then also in moderation, not too long, not too short, but say whatever is necessary and avoid whatever is possible, I think. I think Kanto Rinpoche once said we should be aware and mindful of each syllable we utter, each syllable. Why not? So, last time I think we also talked a little bit of the 4 ways of attracting beings. we have the 6 paramitas, and the other half of the Bodhisattva practice is these 4 ways. And there also it talks a lot about having a gentle speech and meaningful speech, and why we speak that it's benefiting the others, and then also that we maybe agreeable from the heart, or what was written here, speak from the heart, is I think also only possible if we walk the talk, if we really do what we preach. So I think these are some good advice, how to speak. But then, of course, as a bodhisattva, we have maybe a certain amount of wisdom and compassion and skillful means, and then sometimes, of course, we even have to speak differently. We have to use maybe a stronger expression, or we have to shout, or maybe we have to lie, or maybe we have to bring people, distant people, like normally, like creating a schism is not a good, but maybe it's good sometimes to distant people. Like in the earlier example, what was it when somebody said when people are negatively criticizing another person, then yes, it's good to create a distance between them, create some schism. So in the way that just giving them distance and gap, and tell your joke in the middle or something. So my point is, as a bodhisattva, like, yes, these advices here from the Dashabhumika Sutra should be our default way how we should speak. So that is the rule. But then, as a bodhisattva in a specific circumstance, situation, person, and so on, then of course we have to be sometimes the exception of the rule. So as I said, maybe we have to lie, maybe we have to shout, maybe we have to confuse the person even for the time being. Or maybe we have to talk a lot, if somebody is very desperate, sometimes you need a lot of words, and so on. Katja is saying, I'm always full of good intentions, reading things like this, but then something comes up and it's so hard to exert restraint. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Nothing to add. That's the power of habit, We are really like, I don't know what's the right word in English. In German, we say we are habituated animals. So like, we really like whatever we do, say, think is so based on habits that there's really a doubt if there's any free will somewhere, because everything is so conditioned on, dependent on how we have spoken or behaved or thought yesterday. It's like it's always habits, and different, the same tracks we are thinking, or the same directions, and the same expressions, and so on. Therefore it is very difficult to break those habits. So therefore the only thing what helps is meditation, in the literal sense it means familiarizing with, getting acquainted with, or getting used to, and then just try to do it differently now, and then yes, the next 5 times we fail sort of, but then again we try to do it differently, like according to the instructions here, and just trying again and again and getting used to doing it in that way. That can, we just have to have to create new habits, and that takes time, because the old habits we have since beginningless time, basically, and the new habits we have not. They don't have such a weight and they're not so convincing yet. So we have to nourish them again and again, and then little by little, hopefully, if they are really positive and powerful habits, then we can overcome the old habits. It's like in Vajrayana, like mantra recitation, I think if we would dissect why we mantra recitation, we do something powerful often, mantra, let's say, is powerful, and we repeat it like millions of times. So we do it often. So I think that is the way how to change habits. If we have a powerful antidote, and if we repeatedly apply the antidote, only then I think we can change. Of course, that will come in the 9th chapter. The best antidote is, of course, seeing the empty nature of everything. So that is a powerful antidote, and the longer you can abide in that nature, then that is the repetition. But there are many relative antidotes, and the one and only absolute antidote. I'm at my parents now. Habits are so strong. Coming back. Yes, but that is even more understandable. If with parents, because there we have a specific dynamic in the relationship, right, with them and us. That is quite written in stone, basically, it looks like, so that is really, of course, difficult. Whereas if you meet somebody new today, then you don't have that whole package of how you deal with that person. I mean, you have your general package that is already problematic, I think, but you don't have a specific package, how you deal with that person. And so it's more flexible maybe in the beginning. But with parents, yes, there's so much history, and today I was going into some teachings on patience, this next chapter by Ringo Turko, and there he said, especially with parents, it's good to understand, that they don't, they're not necessarily negative, they don't have bad intentions. So they might have good intentions, but what I said earlier, sometimes when they criticize us, they actually mean well. And also the big thing to understand is they are also in samsara. So have zero expectations to them. They are not more holy than ourselves. Just treat them like in a good way, treat them like a samsaric being, that yes, they have their weaknesses, they have their faults, they have their emotions, and therefore, what to do? Don't expect too much, because then we are less frustrated. That is really a huge topic in the next chapter. Christine is saying, taking a vow for a short time, is it encouraged? I have never tried. Yes. What is a classical story? It's like the butcher, right? Who went to the Buddha and said, "Oh, Bhagavan, I need to earn money for my kids and wife. There's something else. Take a vow, good idea, for instance, during your sleep. Do not kill people. You might never break it." Exactly, I'm going into that direction, yes. There's this butcher who said, "Oh, Bhagavan, I'm so sorry. I like your teachings of non-violence, but that is the only thing I know, but butchering and my family needs my physical, financial support. So what to do?" And then Buddha said, okay, then at least in the night, take the vow not to slaughter, not to kill anyone. So he was basically the 12 hours of the day, he was doing his killing business. And then the other 12 hours of the day, he was really not thinking of killing them, and had the commitment to not kill. It was a very strong commitment, because he received it from the Buddha himself, and and that, of course, it was not perfect, because it would have been more perfect to not kill 24 hours per day each day. But at least half of the time he was not killing. And then as a result, Buddha later saw, when this butcher died, then in his bardo, I think during the 12 hours of daytime during each bardo day, he was sort of experiencing hellish hallucinations, that animals wanting to eat him and kill him. And then the other 12 hours, like 12 hours, the night, the bardo nights, the nights in the bardo, he was then, that was more like heavenish, and the animals were his best friends and so on, So he had, therefore, like in daytime, in the life, then also in bardo, he had these two different sides and experiences. And therefore, yes, generally, vows are good to take. For example, we do so many, there's so many negative things we are not doing anyway. So it's we can use those things, and even make a vow out of it, like not killing elephants, for example, there's so many things that we are not killing humans, of course. Rinpoche is saying we are too lazy actually to do it, because it needs so much planning and stuff. But besides that, we really, there are so many things we don't do anyway. Like, I'm not smoking, so that's very easy. I should take a vow, of not smoking. Or yes, I drink alcohol, not so much, but I could take a vow not to drink until, I don't know, 8 p.m. in the evening, So at least I'm only drinking between 8 and midnight, let's say. So four out of 24 hours. So that's quite good. Or, if you can take a vow of what's called chastity. Chastity, is it? When you, thank you, Effie. The thing that Gandhi was doing, right? And the monks, hopefully, and nuns. Like, even if you're in a relationship, you can do that. Let's say, if you go to work, the 8 hours where your partner is not working, you don't see your partner, you can make sure I don't have any sex the next hours, at work. Why not? Or if your partner is, I don't know, far away, whatever you want, you can always use so many different opportunities. Yes. So therefore, and it is encouraged to do that, because taking vows does leave a good imprint on the mind. And I gave the easy examples, the things that we do correctly anyway. But of course, the vows are also made to improve us, to make us better, if I might use the word. So we use sometimes vows to have more discipline, of course, and therefore we can even use it when it's painful. Like, if you are like a Facebook addict, then you say, okay, from 7 p.m. onwards, no Facebook every day. Or if you like fast food, then maybe renounce McDonald's every second day or something, we can be totally creative. Or if you want to be vegetarian, but you still want to eat meat sometimes, then also say, I will only eat meat on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Just start somewhere, and make it a little bit yeah, disciplined and strict, but not too strict. Okay. And those examples of Facebook and McDonald's to cut the habit of addictions or for discipline. Yes, both. I think discipline is the opposite of addiction, right? Yeah, I think it's the same. Because discipline is not meant as a heavy list of rules and regulations and do's and don'ts, but it's really meant to simplify our life, and to get out of trouble, because we have so much the habit, to get into trouble and to like dodgy things, so therefore it's good to have some discipline. Okay, then the next one, verse 80, how do we look? I mean, with our eyes, not how we look not how we look in the mirror, but how do we use our eyes when we look? When beholding someone with my eyes, thinking I shall fully awaken through depending upon this being, I should look at him with an open heart of love. I think the Dalai Lama looks like that. I don't know if you have been close to him. I think he looks exactly like that. In some commentary it was written, what was it? Let's imagine you are very thirsty, and you just had a very refreshing, healthy drink or something, And so likewise, if you look at somebody, feel equally refreshed. That is the example. I like that. Here more the classical explanation, I shall fully awakened through depending upon this being. That is how we should look and think. And yes, I guess from Mahayana point, it totally makes sense, because we want to practice the 6 paramitas, and for that we need the others, We need somebody to be generous to, or we need somebody to be patient with, and somebody who's testing our emotions and so on. So therefore, our whole bodhichitta practice, is circling around others. So therefore, they are crucial in our path to enlightenment. And therefore, we should be grateful with them. We should be appreciative and joyful. And I should look at him or her with an open heart and love. It says like that here. Yeah. Maybe like a mother looking at her baby, or looking at your favorite person or your favorite pet, like looking with that love, at everyone. And yes, of course, in the beginning it's hypocritical again, it's faking, but we continue to do it, and then becomes making. Okay, let's try to do 3 more verses today, because then we have some sort of a cut here. So 81 is also important, and this we should bring in some Abhidharma, if you don't mind. Wait, I share it. 81. Always being motivated by great aspiration, or being motivated by the remedial forces, if I work in the fields of excellence, benefit, and misery, great virtues will come about. In the great fields. Yeah, okay. Always being motivated by great aspiration. Then apply antidotes. Work in the 3 fields. That will be great. So if we look in Abhidharma, there are various explanations, how to make our positive actions stronger or our merit bigger. Then, of course, the one factor is like the time. We should do constantly good things without interruption. So that continuity, that is important for our good actions. And then what is mentioned here is the motivation. So we always should be motivated by great aspiration. So we should think big, we should have a great aspiration, good wishes, without any negative emotions to benefit others. And then we should apply the antidote, Shantideva is saying. And there, we and then what do we act? Then we apply what is taught, basically. If we see that we are so very angry, then we apply the antidote, which is patience. Or if we are super lazy, we apply diligence. Or in our case now, if we have negative habits, then that is a topic here, we apply discipline. Of course, first generosity we apply against our stinginess. And if we are distracted, sorry, the order was wrong, but when we are distracted, then we apply meditation. If we are very ignorant or unaware, then we apply wisdom. Or today we also talked about if we are jealous, then we apply rejoicing. In chapter 8 also here in chapter 5, when we have too much attachment to our body, then we try to see the negative things and disgusting parts of it. But if we have too much aversion to our body, then we should try to see the beauty and the preciousness of it. So again, who was it, Marina or Ishi earlier? Again, honesty is the most important thing. We need to know where our problem is, and then we apply the antidote. There's an antidote to everything. And again, if we bring in Abhidharma, then the good thing is they say we are not multitasking at all, We can only have like at one single moment in regard to one single object, we can only have one single mind. So if I look at somebody with anger in this moment, then that is what is filling my mind. But then if I have one moment of patience, then in that moment of patience, there is no anger possible. That is the idea of Abhidharma, because it's the exact opposite. And that's how mind training then works. That is how we replace bad habits with good habits. It's not our topic here, but then in the end, of course, we go even beyond good habits. But here at the moment, our aim is to replace bad habits with good habits. And then here the verse, it talks about the 3, fields. So the 3 fields of merit, it's sometimes called. And that is similar to what was said earlier, that other beings are important for our enlightenment or our practice. So here we have the fields of excellence, benefit, and misery. So the fields of excellent or qualities, these are basically our refuge objects. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, especially here the Bodhisattvas. So when we do good things towards them, that is that also makes our virtuous action stronger. And also, if we do good things towards the field of benefit, these are the beings from whom we benefited a lot this life. So our parents and teachers and so on. partners in a good relationship. And then the field, what was the last one? Misery, field of misery, or sometimes it's also called field of compassion. So these are especially beings who are suffering. So this is, so here, of course, we are all in samsara, so therefore we are all suffering. But here it's really, it means in regard to beings who are really in need at the moment, who are really desperate. So those, if you help them, then that virtue becomes even stronger. But out of those four, as usual in Buddhism, the motivation is the most important thing. And there also in Abhidharma, there are many explanations on that. But in short, the motivation should be free of negative emotions, should be focused on the benefit of others, and it's also stronger if you have planned it a little bit, if you have thought about it and pre-planned your actions with a good motivation. Okay, I hope you have 5 more minutes. Then we have verse 82. Endowed with wisdom and joy, I should undertake all that I do. I need not depend upon anyone else in any actions that I undertake. Endowed with wisdom and joy, I should undertake all that I do. I need not depend upon anyone else in any action that I undertake. Sometimes it's a little bit cryptic, but this will get much worse in the 9th chapter. Here it says, in this translation, it says endowed with wisdom and joy. In some other translation, it says faith. So it just means we should have joy. I mean, wisdom is clear. We should have joy or faith in what virtue is, we should have faith in virtue and joy. And therefore we should continuously practice. And here then the part, I do not need to depend upon anyone else. So that is from the commentaries. From the commentaries, it means that we should do the things. We should not delegate the actions. Okay, I'm back. So whatever is necessary to do, we should do. We should not order them. And I think there are many examples, like Atisha, for example. He was a great master already. And usually when they do the practices, then great masters not necessarily have to do all the teeny tiny works, but he was always doing the tormas and tsatsas and everything himself, even though that is something that is usually delegatable. Or also another example, I think, is Tsongtsa Khyentse Shukölötro, the previous Khyentse. When he gave empowerments, even when there are like 2,000 people, he would always go down from the throne and really touch each single one, That is also a delegatable job, And usually you have seen that maybe in big empowerments. Then the tulku sitting in the front and one Rinpoche is getting the items on the head and getting the blessing, and then that Rinpoche is running around to the 2,000 people. But Khyentse Shukölötro was always doing it like that, and that's why also I think the present Tsongtsa Khyentse Rinpoche is also doing it like that. And also another example I thought is nice. I don't know if you know Chaktu Kandro from Brazil, and she's cleaning the toilets. She's really the spiritual head of Kandroling, of Chaktu Gompa in the West. But still, she's doing everything also in the center, She's cleaning the toilet, she's cutting the grass. because it needs to be done. So, and therefore the advice here is, if we know how to do an action that we think is good, then do it. Don't wait that others are doing it, or don't delegate it, but do it. But of course, if we don't know, then of course we can ask others to help. Okay, last verse for today, because then comes another big topic in this chapter, is verse 83. Let's see. Yeah. The perfections, such as generosity, are progressively more exalted, but for a little morality I should not forsake a great gift. Principally, I should consider what will be of the most benefit for others. The perfections, such as generosity, are more exalted. Yeah. So, I'm sure you have noticed the paramita practices, the 6 or 10 paramitas. They are like you're starting from more coarse or more easy or more foundational and less important and to the opposites. I forgot what I said, but more important, more higher, more subtle, more difficult to practice. So that is really like, it's a sequential practice. And because I forgot who said that recently, but generosity apparently is quite easy to practice. Who said that? I forgot. But it was, for example, when maybe Sapshu Rinpoche, no, maybe Acharya Tashi. Yeah, Acharya Tashi said that recently. Like when Buddha was teaching kings and ministers, then they liked Buddhism, but they really didn't like discipline. Why would a king give up like his 10 queens and so on? So they just didn't feel like giving that up, and having discipline. But for them, they have a lot of money. For them, it is very easy to be generous, and then host dinners and lunch, or maybe even brunch. I don't know if they had that during Buddha's time, to invite the Buddha and the entourage, and then offer them food. That was a very chic thing to do during that time. I forgot which word Acharya used, but anyway, that is the point. So that was the logic why generosity is easier. If you have the wealth, they didn't care at all. That and they were happy to practice that, and that shows it's more easy. And then discipline, patience, diligence, meditation, and wisdom becomes more and more difficult and more subtle. I mean, wisdom in the end has nothing to do with the body anymore, nothing to do with physical things. And then here it says, but for a little morality, I should not forsake great gift. Principally, I should consider what will be of the most benefit for others. So that is really like a Bodhisattva general guideline, always check the situation, what is more beneficial to do or what has more side effects, what you could do. And then do it. But if we understand the 6 parameters to be sequential, then also the higher parameters are more important than the lower ones. So therefore, we should generally not abandon discipline for generosity. And of course, we should not abandon wisdom for generosity. But the other way is around. You can, it's fine, you can forsake anything for wisdom, basically, if you really have the wisdom. But here specifically it says, don't abandon a great generosity for the sake of little discipline. That I think was also mentioned earlier. Let's say if we are in a charity event, I think they used that example, and So that is a big generosity, and I'm sure you have seen that with the Rinpoches, even monks or nuns, who don't drink alcohol and stuff like that. So they have very disciplined, and they come to this charity event because now it's a practice of generosity, and then that is the great generosity here. But then a little discipline can be forsaken in those cases. Then yes, they drink a little bit of beer or a small schnapps or tequila, or they I even saw some dancing sometimes. So it's totally okay, to give up a small higher practice if you are about to do a great big lower practice. And if we want to check, is this now a small practice or a big practice? So is it big enough so that I can sacrifice the small discipline? Like in this case, is our generosity big enough that it justifies us to give up discipline? Then, there are always couple of parameters to check. So, so the first is, if that project that we are going to do, is it more helping others, or is it more helping myself? And the more it helps others, the bigger it is. And then also we check with the time, is it more helping long term or only helping short term? So the sustainability is the question here. And then also we should check, is it only helping on a worldly level, or is it really helping to attain enlightenment? So these are parameters we can check, when we do an action. And so, for example, if we do a big generosity here, and it's really for the purpose of many, and for a long-term purpose of many, and even for the enlightened purpose of many, then that is a big generosity. And for that, we can forsake some smaller, higher parameters. But if what we do is only for our own sake now, not even long run, and only for a worldly benefit, then that is a small action, and therefore we should not forsake anything else for it. Sorry for being so slow and long today, but that's it finally. Thank you for... Is there anything to discuss? Then I'm still here. If not, then I thank you for your presence, attention, interaction. I think today nobody spoke, but everybody was writing stuff, which is also nice. And thank you very much for being here, and please keep safe and happy. And let's dedicate maybe whatever merit came out of that. That's always the Mahayana habit, because just thinking of Buddha, Bodhisattvas, Dashabhumika Sutra, or Shantideva is always meritorious. And I assume we all have the wish to attain Buddhahood, so all that we can dedicate. And so also, again, in your own words, do that for the sake of everyone, to dedicate that, no matter if those people are our friends or enemies, if they're humans or not, if they're, I don't know, for everyone. Because everybody wants to be happy and free of suffering, so they all need some good energy or merit. Okay, thank you guys. See you soon, if you like.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arne. Thank you very much.